Right, by now you should be at this stage, getting this big support bar in. Now this can be a pain because this does not want to slot into these two gaps here, but if you keep wiggling it around it will go in. Believe me, I'm managing. So yeah, it will go in. Try and be careful not to trap any wires. They are a pain because they go everywhere. And also make sure you get the wires going in the right location. Now the aerial cable for the radio, I have ran this over the top rather than underneath. Probably not the right way to do it, but it's definitely the most easy way to do it. So that's the way I've done it. When we get around to this side, I recommend doing that side first, steering wheel side first, because it's the most hardest. Well, that's only because I can't get into that door, it's already hitting the wall over there. I have to get the bloody touch-up paint out, I know it. Right, now it comes to this side. So this thing here, it's got to be pushed in quite a fair way to get this bar to line up. But at the same time, you've got to try and get this in as well. You can see what kind of a gap I've got there. Them two hooks have got to line up with these two here, so more jiggling around and getting it into places it doesn't want to go, but when it's in there it sits there quite happy. I have just gone and reinstalled some brand new gear linkage cables. They're that cheap, you may as well change them for what it takes. As if you can be bothered. I am going to run some grease into them because it feels like there's no grease in them at all. It's a bit naff really, that. Probably don't need it, to be fair. But I'll run something into them, some of that spray grease. Oh, it starts off as a liquid and it slowly solidifies as the solvents work their way out of it. Okay. Whew, it's warm today. I don't think it's the hottest day, but it's the second hottest day. June 2020. It's almost my birthday actually. Soon be 22 years old. I wish. Soon be 32 years old. All fun. Right. Let's get back to it. Alright, now we've got to it. The wiring. So, this is pretty straightforward. Again, I've told you what these go to blowers, to the thingy up here, goes into those. That wire there goes to the bolt down here somewhere. These two plugs come through these two holes here. This wire gets routed through these clips. That's for your main thingy on the front here, your sliders. You got all these wires down here. These all go to all of these connectors and things. Oh, a bit of a lie down, nice. All down here. While you're doing that, just pull these cables out of the way, the ones that are actually part of the van, and then oops, my gear stick in the way. The last remaining cable has got two plugs on it and an earthing point, and that goes to this blower motor, to the bolt down there, and up to the recirculation flap. Easy as that. And there's some wind blowing through here now, so I'm going to wind this window up and close the door. Windy windy, Armstrong specials. Well, I've got to put those two bolts in there, and also the bolts on the steering column too, because they're all loose. Turns out you didn't have to take all the steering column off, but hell, it was only 4 extra 13mm bolts, so yeah. But you don't have to touch them, so make sure you tighten them up if you do. Yeah. Alright, let's put all these wires into where they should go. Okay, right, that's everything wired in, nice and neat. All down here, around there, look. Past the pedal switches. That one on the end just there is for cruise control, which I've not got installed in this yet, but I do plan on doing it. All up there and into that little actuator. Both earths on both sides are done. Excellent. I'm ready to chuck the battery on, see if these blowers work. See how well it works. See if it works. See if the wiring's alright first. Got to get some power on though. But it needs a battery. Well, here's a little sigh of relief. Spot the difference, besides one being a bit more dirty than the other. Go on. Spot the difference. That's right, there ain't any. It appears that I've got all the wiring behind my dashboard already there for this thing, and the colours are the same, which is nice. That should tell me that this is literally a plug and play system. The only thing I'm missing is some of the wiring in the bonnet, which may be linked to some of the cables in this plug just here, because there's only a couple of wires in this plug, look. And I remember there being a lot more wires in that plug on the car that I got this out of. Now I'm guessing most of that is for electric windows and things. There's some pretty beefy cables in there, to be honest. Them pink ones, quite large, look quite large. So yeah, we'll see what needs doing. Pretty sure I brought that plug back with me, but I can't find it. I did cut like parts of the loom out, but I must have misplaced it somewhere. Anyway, let's chuck a battery on this thing and see if this thing fires up. At least now I know the wiring colours are all the same. That should tell me that nothing's going to go bang. See how it works. I have, on a precaution, put 1 amp fuses in everything. Everything but the blower motors themselves, because they do require a bit of juice. But for all the control gear, that's all just got a 1 amp fuse in it, where it used to have a 5 amp in before. So hopefully if it blows, it's not going to blow that up. We'll see. Lazy way of checking, I know, but it must be done. Okay, so it is all plugged in and wired up. The ignition is on, but nothing works. But that is to be expected. I mean, I know it's plugged in and working, because when I turn the lights on, I've got my illumination working with one bulb blown, which I'll have to fix. The reason why I say it's expected is because if you've not driven one of these things for a while, it goes into a kind of low power state. Now, the only way to wake it up is to start the engine, which unfortunately at the moment is not possible. So I have got to wait until I've built the clutch system up, hence the clutch plate down there, and got the gearbox back on, although I could start it up just resting on the jack. But I'm pretty confident that that will work when I have got it all done. Just temporarily put the battery tray back in again. We'll take that off for now. But like I say, there should be a few relays here. Well, one here, and I think there's a relay. There's a relay there, and I think there's one there and all. Now they could be for fog lights and various other optional extras which this doesn't have. But I do believe one of them is for a low speed setting for the radiator fan. So it's easy to wire in, and we will continue with that a bit later on. I did find on this one, interesting, 2 wires which looks like they've just been cut off, and I don't know what they go to. It's not the horn, because the horn is down here, and that works fine on my nicely yellow painted bracket, because it's the only colour hammerite that I've got there. So it'll do. In here we've got an abundance of pipes. Now I am not going to put my dash back together just yet. I am in the process of putting the gear stick back together again, but I think I'll leave it for now. And what I'll do is I'll focus on putting these hoses in instead and run them. They run quite nice and simple from the TXV, which is just in there, the nice goldeny coloured thing. They run down underneath the fuse box, underneath the battery tray, and they exit here. And right here you will have the points, the mounting points. There's one there and one here to mount your filter dryer. Alright, so I've just been doing a bit of you know, all the other jobs. You'll notice the gearbox is sort of in there at the moment, just chucked in. One thing that I wanted to show you is things to look out for on particularly the vehicle you're going to be getting it out of. Now, when I looked in the place where I got these hoses from, I did notice that a couple of them actually had got quite a bit of chafing right here. And you can see this has got some chafing on it, but it's not gone through, and it's not actually that bad. You can see it's worn it down a bit, but it's not horrific. It's not soft there, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's just something to look for. This is also the low pressure side. This is a suction line going into the compressor, so it's not as high a pressure as, say, this thinner hose here. And you always have this thing with pipes like these, and that is usually the way it goes is the thinner the pipe, the more higher pressure it is. And that's just a general you know, a general thing. You'll notice that on most refrigerant systems the thinner pipe is always the one that's coming out of the compressor, not the return to the compressor. A thinner pipe is more easy to build up higher pressure in, if that makes sense. I mean, this is just, again, just a standard rubber pipe. There's nothing really in there, and if it wasn't for the ferrules you could get this changed. In fact, if you took, say, a pipe like this to someone who makes hydraulic hoses or something, there's a possibility that he might be able to break apart this original flare, this crimp here should I say, pull this bit out, because this would just pull out this part of the pipe given this was in good condition, and give you, you know, put you on a brand new rubber section. I mean, okay, it's something that I'm not bothering on this particular car because I don't think that these pipes are that bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, it shouldn't be like that, but I don't think it's going to be leaking. So it's just something to remember. One thing that is very good for stopping pipes from chafing is pool noodles, or pipe lagging, for instance, like what you put on an outside tap or something to stop frost getting on them. Pool noodles, those things where, you know, they use them as floating aids. They're a bit like oversized pipe lagging. Quite good. And you can put that around the pipe, and if there's something that rubs on it, it'll rub on the pipe lagging rather than rub the pipe. So it's just nice. I mean, this kind of stuff here, look, which is on the power steering pump, they've put this on here just to help anything rub against it. Although I'm not sure what does rub there. I think there's electrical cables there for the starter motor, but there's no rubbing or chafing on that. But yeah, it's just something to look out for. Just thought you might want to know.